Welcome to day 45. Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Good morning. I got some great questions about the Double David Goggins challenge, so thought I would hop on and answer those. Thanks, Chris, for some great questions. So here we go. How would it make you feel to consider doing this without a set endpoint? What do you think would change if you kept going like this for a week or two? I'll start with that part. I mean, there was a part of me that didn't really want to stop on Sunday. Like, because I wasn't breaking down really, and I felt really good, and I kind of was in my rhythm. I mean, other than the nighttime, which I don't know if I would want to do that part for 2 weeks, but I feel like I kind of got into my groove and could have kept going for a lot longer. I actually feel like stopping was more of a problem. Like I might not run today because, now I'm feeling like, like the things that are a little, I don't know, maybe like my body came to an abrupt halt and it doesn't really like that versus continuing to go every 4 hours. So mentally, I mean, I would be super curious. I've done 10 50Ks in 10 days and like really liked that long, like every day you got to get up and do this thing. And the structure of this was good for me. And yeah, I mean, I'd be curious. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but and what do I think would change if I kept going like this for a week or two? I definitely think I would have needed support, because that was the hard part, is like the things that were piling up on a day-to-day basis, like doing all the dog walks and everything like that. I think that would have been the problem, like running out of time to do things to keep this going, right? So like, yes, I have time between the runs, but like figuring out where to, have calls, do grocery shopping, like do everything that's necessary, and having the energy to do other things, that would be the problem. So I think if I were to continue to go for a week or two, that would just be the bigger issue. Like if Nathan had been here, like I wouldn't have had to make all my meals. I wouldn't have had to do all the animal care. Like that might make it easier to do for a couple weeks. So that was a very rambling answer to that question. So curious. I definitely think I could have kept going. Do you think it was actually good training or just a way to explore the kind of challenges you will experience and further? The distinction is that good training actually increases your physiological capacity to perform. Yes. I do think it is good training. I think for me, so the thing is that I've talked to other people who've done like a single Goggins, and a lot of people had hard time getting through the full 48 hours. So, without breaking down. So that makes me think that like I'm a freak. I am unique in that like that amount of mileage my body can handle. But I do think from a training perspective, it could be a really good way for somebody to get bigger miles and build a bigger mileage base with less risk, right? So, I ran 96 miles in 4 days. Like that, if I had done that 24 miles at a time or whatever, like that would have been more dangerous and more risky to my body than doing 4 miles at a time. And I think doing something like this could be a big stimulus. Like, it's a really big stimulus for the body, and somebody who did this might be able to do like a regular Goggins challenge and come off of it and have like a little bit more of an endurance base. So I do think that does have a physiological benefit. I do think the double was more mental. And I think the double, you kind of get into that risk reward thing for like a regular person. Because it is so many miles in such a short time and not everybody can handle that kind of thing. I think, excuse me, 48 miles in 2 days, I think if done in an intelligent way, then could be really good stimulus. And I think for most people, that would mean actually slowing down a lot. I think that's probably why people have a hard time later on in those, after 36 hours or something, is like I said, like, oh, I think I'm running too fast. But like a lot of people probably do run it too fast because 4 miles isn't that hard for people who would undertake this kind of challenge. So I think if people slow down enough to not cause their body to break down, then I think it could be a great stimulus. So it's kind of a balance. I think the answer is yes, it could be, but that is something that would depend on the individual and where they are in their own training, right? Like if you're not running more than 50 miles a week, it might be a bigger risk and you might not get as much benefit because you might break down. But if you're somebody who has a decent mileage base, it might be worth it. This is a funny question. Keto cereal with dried fruit seems funny. Why bother with keto cereal? Is it really good? I'm really interested in how you're feeling this. I'm not keto at all. This basically, I should have said it's just grain-free cereal. I am gluten-free, have been for a really long time. I have something on the Crohn's colitis spectrum that basically is considered undifferentiated colitis, which means they just can't figure out what it is, even though I've had 5 million colonoscopies. TMI. I don't eat gluten. I haven't for 17 years. Most people find that ironic considering I owned a bakery. So I do a lot of grain-free stuff. I generally find grain-free to be the most tolerated by my stomach. Keto cereal is weird. I think it's kind of silly if you're keto to be eating cereal. But that's not why I bought it. I bought it because it was made out of cassava. So cassava is one of my favorite grain-free swaps. And so this cereal was grain-free, and like I said, I tend to tolerate cassava better than like oats and things like that. And so it actually isn't that low. It isn't low carb. And the dried fruit, the prunes, which seem dangerous to some people, is actually part of a protocol. I do something called the root cause protocol. So I eat prunes pretty much every day. And dried fruit is actually really high carb. So while it might be dangerous for some, I eat them every day. So this meal is pretty similar. It like a lot of the items that are included other than the cereal are part of the root cause protocol. And so for me, it was like the right balance and I know my body can handle it. So it was like, I'm getting in the yogurt and the bananas and the prunes and the Brazil nuts and the bee pollen. Like those are all root cause protocol. And so then the cereal is just for like a little crunch. So in general, the fueling was, I showed you a little bit about what I bought, I think the day before, was generally higher carb, higher calories. So I bought a ton of options and I tried to pick options that I know were going to be available. Like we have a list of things that are going to be available at Further. And so I tried to focus on those items, and I wasn't necessarily trying to eat those and then actually like immediately run, but I wanted to incorporate those into my daily eating. So I was eating things like pizza bites and, I ate ramen and, gluten-free bagels and things like that, which are not part of my normal diet. So my diet was definitely higher carb, higher calories. So keto cereal, not because I'm keto. That would, no. Does beans not Does Beans not enjoy running? It seems like a run of 4 miles might be good, fun exercise for some dogs, but I know this varies widely. There's a couple reasons. Beans tends to hurt me when he runs because he's a boy dog. I don't know, maybe this is all dogs. This was not the case with my greyhound. Beans likes to come to a lot of hard stops when you run with him. And since he weighs like half of my body weight, it really hurts. He's just, sorry. He has definitely caused my hips to come out of alignment more than once. We have run with him, but he tends to have joint problems, and like he becomes really shaky if you take him for that many runs. So walking just seems to be better on his joints. He is a rescue, so we don't really know what kind of dog he is. But it seems like he doesn't tolerate running very well. Yeah, so he just kind of gets relegated to walking. Yeah, so a lot of dog walking. If too personal, ignore. Is it coincidence that you did the challenge when your partner was away? If it was me, having my partner getting out of bed at all hours to run, fuel a vlog, etc. would be rough, but not entirely dissimilar to having small children, so I've done that. When I planned this, I didn't actually know that Nathan was going to be gone. It was a good coincidence. So if he was here, it wouldn't actually be that big of a deal because like he's a baker, so he actually wakes up at like midnight, or he wakes up sometime between midnight and 3 a.m. every morning. So it's not actually, I don't think it would have been that problematic. And literally Nathan sleeps like he's dead. So I probably could have been doing what I'm doing next to him and he would have been like Beans, just like totally knocked out. Literally when we got Taki, our cat, or when we rescued him, Taki knocked a vase off of something right outside our bedroom door, and it shattered, and it was filled with rocks, and so it shattered and all these rocks went everywhere. Nathan didn't wake up for that, and then I started cleaning it up and I started vacuuming, and Nathan didn't wake up for that. So Nathan is pretty much dead to the world when he's asleep, and he keeps weird hours anyways. I don't think he would have enjoyed being around because it's just so, like, I don't know if he would have enjoyed it or not. I should say, I think it would have been more complicated because, like, I didn't have to think about, like, being a good spouse. Like, for lack of better way of saying it. Like, I didn't have to be like, hey, let's have dinner. Like, how do you feel about 4:30 dinner? Like, I didn't have to worry about inconveniencing him or waking him up or, like, you know, relying on him too much. So in a lot of ways, it just made it less of an element. So he was seeing his family, and so it just happened to be a good coincidence. And I think it was probably for the best. But like I said earlier, if I was doing this for a longer time, definitely would have appreciated someone to like do the grocery shopping and make me meals and things like that. So yeah, that was a lot of questions. Good questions, and hopefully that was helpful and I didn't ramble too much. And keep asking me questions. I love it. Okay, I am here huddled next to my heater in my very cold gym room. I just answered some of your questions. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know. I'm a rambler. I am not gonna run this morning. I'm gonna do some strength and mobility and see if I can get my left leg feeling good again. I'm not, like I said yesterday, I'm not worried about it, but I just don't want to keep pushing when I feel like things are off. Plus I didn't take any days off after the challenge, even though it felt like I did because I ran at 4 a.m. On the last day. So yeah, I'm just gonna
keep working on things, and then I might run this afternoon, or I might take the whole day off. We shall see. Birthday cookies for Nathan. Some very gigantic cookies, but I'm sure they're delicious. Nathan likes ice cream sandwiches for his birthday, so made some cookies, got some ice cream. His birthday's tomorrow. Okay, well, this vlog has gone on long enough. 15 minutes for answering all your questions and showing you cookies. So I'm gonna cut it short. See you guys tomorrow, and hope you have a great evening.